Recording in
All right, let's call a meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Councilmember Kylan. Councilmember Happy. Here. Councilmember Seeger.
Here.
Councilmember Pruitt.
Here.
Councilmember Price.
Here.
Councilmember Cranbrook.
Here.
And Mayor Wood.
Here. Additions or amendments to the agenda?
Just that you may want to take our guests after we get to down through the consent agenda before
Before the action items?
Before the action items, so that they don't have to stay around if they don't want to.
That sounds good to me. All right, so we will move them up. All right, do we have to have a motion for that?
You don't have to.
No, okay. All right, adoption of the consent agenda.
With the adoption consent, the slightly modified consent agenda.
Thank you. I got a second.
And we want to read out the approval of the action minutes from February 23rd, 2026, and the ratification of the bills in the amount of $473,835.18.
All right. I got a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All right. All in favor of the adoption of the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the adoption of the consent agenda for the approval of February 23rd, 2026 minutes and the ratification of the bills in the amount of $473,835.18. The motion was by Happy and second by Sorrell, and it passed unanimously. All right. Appearances of interested citizens to share on a variety of perspectives on issues facing our community. New. Special reports, none. We have no public hearings. And we're gonna move the Hood River County Sheriff right up to that table and we'll have you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, you forgive me if this is the, I don't know exactly how you guys go about this normally. It's the first time I've been asked to do a report from the Sheriff's Office. So I'll just kind of give you guys a little bit of a rundown of what's happening. I'd be happy to take some questions from them.
Okay.
So the River County Sheriff's Office is currently operating down a number of people. We are back in a phase of hiring again. Our patrol staff, which is normally staffed at 14, which includes our assigned Cascade Locks deputy. That number is currently at 10 that are in positions, and then we have another 3 people. Some of them patrol, some of them not. We're out on long-term leave, so we're operating at a pretty big deficit right now from a staffing perspective. We are working to hire those positions as fast as we can. We've got somebody starting in about 2 weeks, and we have other people that are in various stages of the background process. So we're doing what we can to get our staffing back up to where we would like it to be. But in the meantime, we're continuing on as we always do and trying to fill positions as we can and provide the same level of service that people expect from us.
Any questions? Bernard?
So Deputy Salisbury, I understand she no longer works for the department, is that right?
Yes, she took a lateral position with the Sherwood PD.
Okay, so, and I understand she was the, I guess, the most common person I was seeing patrolling our town. And I actually tried to do a ride along with her, and we never could connect.
Okay.
So are you the person dedicated to, or I understand road, can you explain how that's working?
Yeah, I'm happy to explain that. So I'm not, first of all, I'm one of the patrol sergeants. The assigned Cascade Lock position rotates on a quarterly basis. So Deputy Salisbury was the assigned deputy through the end of 4th quarter. And beginning in the 1st quarter, it was assigned to Deputy Helton. Deputy Helton is one of our people who is out on long-term leave. And so we've been filling piecemeal rather than assigned person while he's been out. So we just have deputies throughout the week that take chunks of time to spend down here. And because of the way that it's being have to be filled piecemeal. It's not the same hours that it's typically been. When we have an assigned deputy, they work the Thursday through Sunday in a swing shift. When we're filling it a little bit more piecemeal, it tends to be 3 or 4 hours here, 3 or 4 hours there, and so the time that we have people here is much more varied than it was when we have our dedicated person. If that makes sense.
Hey, guys, so I understand you're having staffing issues, so, can you give me an estimate on when we'll go back to that normal staffing? Which I think is where our contract lays out. I would need to review it again, but.
Yeah, we can double check the contract. I believe it just specifies the amount of hours, not necessarily
That's
specific
right, yeah,
hours per
right,
week
right.
or days of the week. It's just total number of hours per week. But we are hopeful that with, I would say, I anticipate that if we can fill 2 of those 4 open positions, we're back into a place where we can have that dedicated person and not have to be piecemealing it quite as much. But as soon as Deputy Helton gets back, we intend to try to get him in here, fulfilling the rest of his time here before we go into the next quarter. But he may get pulled more frequently to help out in the valley, and we may be substituting people back in. It just, sometimes it turns into just, I don't wanna say shell game, because that's not the right word, but we're having to make sure that on certain shifts where we're really short staffed, we're filling appropriately. And then from those other shifts where we have more staffing, we're having some little people come down here and work here.
I have a question, are we getting our 24 hours a week coverage?
I believe so. I'm not the one that runs the report on that, but we're doing everything we can to make sure that you're still getting what you're paying for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gordon, and then I'll go to you.
Do you do any coordination with the state police, so you're on patrol at different times here?
The state police has such a wide range of area that they cover. We don't necessarily coordinate unless there's something real specific for a very specific event, we'll coordinate, but otherwise, you know, there are some nights where they only have one person on and they're covering, you know, a couple 100 miles worth of Interstate 84. And so they're not necessarily the reliable backup that we
I've
would.
actually seen them pull over some people here.
Yeah, well, so you do have a couple of them that live here.
Yes.
Which certainly, you know, gives you a little bit of a boost, as far as some of their coverage in the area.
Thank you.
Tiffany,
Can you let Courtney go first, and then I wanna ask a
okay,
follow-up question?
Courtney,
Thanks for coming tonight. Can you help me understand the difference between the total number of call breakdown? So 49 and total calls for service is 59?
I would have to look at that to, I would anticipate that really what we're just looking at here is the call breakdown is some of the common call types, but there are other call types that would go into the total.
So we're
Does that
not
make sense?
being, all of the calls aren't being reported?
No, so like if total calls for service in this area for that time period was 59, not all of those 59 calls for service fit into one of these specific categories. There might be a couple other outlier categories, but these are the ones that we typically like to track the most, if that makes sense. So there might be a couple of random, we have, you know, this, we've got what, I don't know, 15 or so different call types listed here. Our actual call types are like, there's like 30 of them. So there's probably just a couple of outliers and some of those other infrequent call types that are represented in the total that aren't represented in one of these.
Is there a way that we could get that included? I mean, even if you just call it other, or I would be interested in knowing, you know, what's going on in the city.
Okay, yeah, I can talk to them about that. Yeah. Certainly.
alright, Tiffany,
So is that the same kind of report that Hood River County Hood River County commissioners, the council, do they get a report similar to this? Is this the kind?
With regard to the county as a whole,
Yeah, well, no, do they get a report for calls?
Format.
Yeah, do they get a report for calls that they get?
I bet not.
I don't think that they've ever asked, to my knowledge, they've never asked for a specific report. We give them a quarterly report, but it's not according to a specific format.
Okay, and so what is the quarterly report? Is it a write-up sort of thing?
Yeah, it's a little bit more narrative based and.
Yeah, so I mean, this is kind of not
There's no
satisfying.
context.
No,
It's
yeah, it's
really-
not satisfying to me. I mean, I don't know. I personally would like to see a little bit more. I'm not really sure. Maybe my fellow counselors can help with what it should say, but I mean, at least a narrative of something, or I don't know. It's just, but that's just kind of follow to me. It's,
I took that project on, like, I think when I was first on council, when it was right after Jordan was hired, I think it was after you left.
It's just before.
Yeah, you left, and without any sort of context, it's like, what does this even mean? You know, if you don't know how, like, the trends and how it compares to the prior year and, prior month, et cetera. And so we're tracking that, Jordan was entering this data into a spreadsheet, but it kind of felt like a waste.
so, I mean, maybe a yearly report on the trends and stuff like that, but like a monthly report, I mean, we are paying a lot of money for this contract, and I just feel like we should get a little bit more substance out of the report, so I don't know. I don't know who would do that, who would have that discussion, I don't know.
We can talk to them when we go back into agreement. Did you have something to say, Kathy?
I just wanted to say that when the Hood River County Sheriff's Office first started doing that, it's because council requested it. And the council at that time refused to pay the monthly bill until they received a report.
Yeah,
And this report has been the same, really,
yeah, and
all this time, but that's why they started. So I'm not sure that they would do anything else for the other communities, it's just we asked for it.
maybe just a paragraph at the end stating,
More narrative based
yeah, just.
explanation of what those
Yeah,
numbers mean.
yeah.
And perhaps hours coverage, so
Yes.
we could see, what the dedication was, the employees to the troopers.
And
All right.
we do have a breakdown of what the codes are, those are.
Yeah, I get it.
We have a breakdown of them.
Okay, Bernard, thank you.
Yeah, I asked our former city administrator about this a couple of times. And look, I agree with all the comments that made. For me, when, it's kind of like a performance report, right? It's like what kind of work is being done?
Yeah.
But then for if it's right, I guess more, more value to us as leaders and council members is to understand trends.
Yeah.
And we generally know that many things are seasonal. So because we have a lot more traffic in the summer, typically call volume will be up in the summer.
Mhm.
And then in the winter, we have less, so it's even, but we don't have a sense of relativity like that 1 month, what is normal for, I guess, February or whatever the month you covered, right?
Yeah.
I don't get that from that report.
Right.
If there's a spike, then that should go, oh, well, what's going on out there? Is there something I should know as a leader? Is there something that we need to be bringing other resources or conversations about? We need to talk to my state representative about, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I think a good report would do, was to inspire those questions and conversations so we can be the best stewards of your resources, of the public good that we're trying to steward, and, be good leaders. But right now, that we're not getting what we need to really be able to pick it apart and to have more, potent and compelling conversation.
Pete,
Just kind of piggybacking on what Kathy's shared, was when I kind of embarked on this journey to try to analyze this data, one of the things we found is we are the only city that's got this information. They could not provide any sort of data or statistics for the county as a whole because they don't track that. So that was one thing. And the second was that crime statistics are really kind of hard to analyze because it really is correlated with, when you have coverage as well. So if you don't have police presence, well, there might not be any crime, because there were no cases, there was no, so calls are, something that they're responding to, and sometimes those lead to the cases, but, sometimes they might observe something if they're here, but there's a correlation between them being here or not. So you can't just assume because crime stats are up, that means that we have more crime, it just might mean that we have more enforcement. So that's why it was like kind of a little bit of a wasted amount of energy to put into like trying to analyze the data. I like the suggestion of more of a kind of a narrative to tell more of a story about what they saw during that month. Because you're right, there's some gaps with the data. It's really hard to analyze and understand, but I don't think it really warrants putting a ton of effort into trying to come up with statistics, because they're not really all that valuable in my opinion.
And I think in that, if we're gonna do a narrative, that we should have like some type of way that we're tracking time, like if they spend an hour here or whatever, because we don't know that we're getting the coverage. Because before, when you guys had staffing problems, the sheriff actually came to us and told us that he couldn't cover us the 24 hours a week. So I think making sure that we're getting what we're paying for is important too in that narrative.
Absolutely.
Tiffany.
And I think, budget season's coming up, and I think it's really important that we have a good narrative when the contract comes to us, because we've had a lot of pushback for the last couple of years, and we have to be able to justify why we wish to continue with this contract. So, I mean, so yeah, I think especially when we get the contract renewal, we should get a really good, report of some sort that we can say, hey, this is why, yeah.
Yeah, these are, great suggestions that I can take back to the sheriff, and we could talk about how to provide something that's a little bit more useful to you guys. Would you, so I know that we do just our typical monthly report that has the numbers and from a narrative standpoint, do you feel like that narrative would be appreciated on that monthly basis, or is that more of like a quarterly, or like how would this be useful to you guys?
Yeah, I like Tiffany's suggestion of just a little, paragraph at the end of the report,
With that.
Yes, I think if it was quarterly, it would almost become like too much work. I feel like if you do it every month, it might not be so bad. I didn't know if there's any way that you guys are using AI, or if there's a way that you could leverage technology to make it so it's not laborious or detracting from the deputy's ability to be on the street and like doing things, as opposed to just in the office typing up a report. We don't want to take away from private safety to get a report.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you went to ICMA and said, show me police update reports or sheriff's office update reports, there's tons out there, out in the city manager community. We're not the only city who contracts with the sheriff's office for services. Cities wanna know they're getting their money's worth and how that's being presented. And again, they wanna know what's going on in their community from a public safety perspective. So what we're asking for is not I don't wanna reinvent the wheel, but I know there's a lot of formats out there. I feel like the city administrator can do a little poking around and come and then talk to the sheriff or, whoever would be handling that and say, hey, how's this look? And then we go from there. That's my 2 cents.
I agree. Did you have a question?
I do, and my apologies, I'm new to the table, and this might be for you and for you, Mr. Zimmerman. If there's a reduction in hours that the city's being provided, will there also be a reduction in billing, or this kind of comes out in the wash, or?
That's entirely above my pay
Yeah,
grade.
that's and we'll be having that conversation.
I think there probably is some of that going on during the winter when the crowds are slow. And in the summer, they do a little extra. But they respond as the need. I mean, if we have a critical need, they're gonna be here, whether it's above or below or 24, 20, I don't know, it's 27 hours, but that's the last time I looked at the contract. But they respond when they need to if it's over that.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, that's the minimum that they're, but if they have to be here more, they'll be here more.
Yeah.
Like my experience since I've been on council is if they've fallen short, they have a lot of accountability and they've come forward, they've been good partners. And they want to support us, so they've been great to work with, in my opinion. Something that's come up in council, we had a community member who came and spoke before us. I think it was, I don't know how long ago it was, but they were crossing the crosswalk with their families. The car stopped to let them pass, and then the car went around that person, honking the horn and shot out the window.
Yeah.
That was just one isolated case. We, I think, all had our own experiences in town with traffic, coming off the highway 14, heading to 14, and they're going fast.
Right.
We talked a little bit before about doing some sort of a pedestrian crosswalks thing. Do you have any, are you able to speak to any of those sorts of operations? We're getting ready to go into our kind of busy tourist season. I'm just wondering, instead of having them here in swing shift Thursday through Sunday, is there any way we could have some coverage during peak tourist times when people are walking across the crosswalk, and if we could actually maybe have catch the speeders and catch the people that aren't, going to pedestrians?
Yeah, traditionally, we've always been willing to provide some variation in the hours. I know that there's been times where we've had deputies who have found it very beneficial to work 2 days worth of kind of more of a midday shift and then 2 days in that swing. The weekends, we find that swing shift is generally more valuable, but we can see, especially during the high tourist season, where more of that midday is gonna be critical for the kinds of things that you're referencing. And so we're perfectly open to making some changes, whether it's on a permanent or more targeted, I guess, basis, to address certain problems.
And how would we want to move, what steps would we need to take to actually initiate that?
Well, it starts with us getting back to where we have that dedicated person. And from there, we have a conversation about what are the problems that we're seeing, what are the best times to be able to address those problems, and then just making some tweaks to the schedule from there.
Just kind of wondering, when we do get our, not a resident deputy, but when we get our assigned deputy back in, is it possible that they could come to council and we could sit down and have that kind of conversation about, some of the concerns that we've heard from residents, issues that we might have, whether it's speeding on Forest Lane or whatever they are, and kind of just unload all of those things to kind of have a little bit of a brainstorm session about how to work together.
Absolutely, yeah, no, we want to be good partners with you guys on this and make sure that we're addressing the problems that you are seeing, for sure.
Thanks.
Tiffany?
Like an abandoned motorcycle. That was a big issue. And another big issue that I hear about a lot is that, I hear from citizens and they get kind of frustrated. I know that we have a lot of turnover of people. It can be boring here and sort of stuff, but to have the deputies sit in front of City Hall on their phone is kind of annoying to a lot of people. So we could, like have them drive around, do something instead of just sitting in one area on their phone. That would be great too. So, I mean, because that's not gonna help our cause to want to keep it continued on, so.
Right, and I think that goes, not to interrupt, but it's a perception thing. The reality is they're not sitting on their phone watching YouTube or scrolling Facebook, right? I don't think you're not suggesting that.
No.
But that's what maybe some residents might think. And so having that narrative at the end of the, report might help to justify, kind of what was going on and what was happening.
Any other questions? Did you have any questions for us?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it. I wrote down a bunch of notes so that we can deal with it when we're talking about our contract and all that.
Yeah, and I've got some notes to take back to the sheriff and we'll talk about some things.
Thank you so much for coming and for your time. We appreciate it. All right, now we're gonna move on to Tri-County Hazard Waste. She is on Zoom.
Good evening, council. I have a presentation to share. Do you guys want me to share my screen or do you have it pulled up?
Please share.
Okay. I sent in a request for sharing. Perfect. Righty. That is not the right screen. Hold on. There we go. Alrighty. Good evening, council. My name is Christina Fiebig. I am with the Tri-County Hazardous Waste and Recycling Program as our solid waste coordinator. I would like to give you an update about our program as well as provide you a brief overview for citizens who may not be aware of our services. We are a 3-county, 9-jurisdiction program that has been serving the region for over 2 decades. The core of our program is to provide hazardous waste collection events several times a year to households, small businesses, and cultural businesses between February and November, and the goal is to reduce hazardous waste like pesticides, chemicals, and other dangerous materials from our 3 waste sheds. We are also tasked with providing recycling education in partnership with the services that Waste Connection provides. There are many additional things we do to support proper disposal, which includes subsidizing the disposal for Freon appliances, sharps, and providing reusable materials for events. We also allow for e-waste disposal at our rural events, such as you guys, Cascade Locks. In 2025, we collected over 180,000 pounds of hazardous materials. As you can see, all the other category was our top contender, and then paint care was our second. Our events are held at a variety of community locations, including the Dalles Transfer Station and the Hood River Transfer Stations. We do ask for registration for all of the transfer station events for all. This helps to reduce traffic as well as safety concerns for businesses and agricultural producers and for households. We do require businesses and agricultural producers to submit an application by 4 p.m. the Thursday the week before for all events. Last fall, we partnered with the local Girl Scout troop to host a recycled art event. It taught the girls how to upcycle in fun and creative ways. Our program also supported Waste Connections by advertising for their free mattress recycling event they had in September at the Dalles Disposal and Hood River Garbage. We also did this for the events that they did last weekend for the mattress collection events.
Christina, can you hold 1 second?
Sure.
So, if this was on Zoom, we have a bigger visual.
Can you make the screen bigger, Christina? It's on us.
I already tried, I couldn't do it.
Click on
They're
Zoom.
right there in that little arrow down in the bottom.
And then take out the
Participants.
And then we'll get a nice big, up there on the right,
Up on the right where it says X
X out
participants.
those guys.
Those where?
Where it says
Corner.
participants up at 3 up in the corner, keep going.
There?
One
The
more,
X,
one more.
the X.
X.
Next to
There.
it, yeah, there you go, Kathy.
Nah, thank you.
And then there you go.
Just hit it once.
That's a little
Is
better.
that better?
Yes, please.
All right. There you go, Christina, sorry, we had a small screen, so we're all squinting.
Oh, got it. Sorry about that. Alrighty, where was I? The recycling events, mattress collection in September. They had them in September, and they also had them last weekend at the Dalles Disposal and Hood River Garbage. That was in partnership with Bye Bye Mattress for your recycling event. They'll have a couple more later in the years. So if you missed those last weekend, don't worry. There's 3 more for both locations throughout the year. So in the future, we will continue to support Waste Connections and expand our education to the younger generations, which I'm doing presenting to schools. So if there's any schools or teachers, school officials who would like me to come to, even churches, community groups would like me to come and present detailed of recycling lists, I can do that, or whatever topic in relation to hazardous waste recycling. So our very next event in Cascade Locks will be June 6th, and business applications are due by 4 p.m. the Thursday the week before. We have refreshed our twice yearly newsletter, which are sent to all addresses, and this shares our collection schedule as well as helpful hints about hazardous waste and recycling. The information is provided in both English and Spanish. Now, the update you all have probably been waiting for, the RMA, the Recycling Modernization Act. Today, the curbside recycling pickup and drop-offs at the transfer stations accept the Universal Statewide Collection List. This is also referred to as the USCL. Recycle On is a statewide public-facing organizational company that is helping all Oregonians feel confident in recycling. So, you might be asking, what is new about this new list? For starters, Oregon has one recycling list, and this is it. So no matter where you go across Oregon, you can recycle all the same things. So for what's new for the county and our counties are plastic tubs without lids made of PET number 1, HDP number 2, or PP number 5, buckets, pails, and storage containers made of HDP number 2 and PP number 5, aseptic gable top style cartons such as alternative milk, broth, juice, and other milks, nursery packaging and trays made of HDP number 2 and PP number 5, scrap metal weighing under 10 pounds or less and 18 inches or less in length. No sharps or tangler items are allowed. You can remember for bottles, if the lid screws on, leave it on, and if it snaps, it's scrap. So that's particular for buckets, and jars. Jars are okay. Glass jars need to be no lids and a separate container. So no bagged recyclables and no plastic bags or stretchy plastic of the sort. So everything else is pretty much the same. So make sure the items are rinsed, dried, and cleaned before recycling. The items that were taken off our list, aerosol cans and tinfoil. These two items are no longer accepted. Aerosol cans, if you're worried about throwing them in the trash, bring them to our hazardous waste collection events. Clamshells and shredded paper still continue to be our greatest source of contamination, so please leave those out. So, you might be wondering what your role is in our organization, and it is to appoint a steering committee member. We meet quarterly. Our very next meeting will be this Wednesday at 9 a.m. We meet Zoom and in person, or Google Meets and in person. And the committee approves budget, work plans, and partners with our staff to promote the services and the program. Your staff may also participate in the annual DEQ watershed reporting, which our staff supports. So, whoever you would like to appoint to our committee, we would be happy to have them. We are looking for a committee member from Cascade Locks. So, feel free to reach out to us, Instagram or Facebook. I make fun educational videos, trying to reach a broader demographic through that. You can also reach us by phone and email for any questions, and our website also has a lot of resource. Is there any questions I can answer?
Okay. So I noticed that in communities around us, there is fiber recycling. Is that anything that's going to be on the radar anytime soon?
Not that I'm aware of. I can check with our haulers, but I have not heard of fiber recycling recently
Is that like
in our
clothing?
counties.
It's like, Old Town, things that are not, reusable, but can have fibers.
Yep.
So those types of materials are not on the USCL, and I do not believe they will ever really be on the USCL just because it is written into law. But I know you can just do, Facebook Marketplace and all of the all of those
Yeah, no,
businesses.
but I'm talking beyond their useful life, once they're not done, but there's still some fiber left. I think Gresham does it now. I think I saw Gresham does it, or Multnomah County does it, so, there is that. Otherwise, it just goes to the landfill.
Yeah.
there are uses for it, so, yeah,
Yeah.
alright, thank you.
Bernard?
Yeah, and some stores do that as well. I wanna say some apparel stores. I've taken like old jeans that, again, they have holes in them. And they have a way of using those fibers for new products, so just keep your eyes open. A few other questions. Can you tell us how mattresses are recycled when they come to your facility? What do they do with those?
So Hood River, so Waste Connections, they don't recycle them. They take them to Bye Bye Mattress. They partner with Bye Bye Mattress, and they'll, from my understanding, will take the mattress, break down the mattress, and they'll box springs. I believe they do kind of scrap metal, and then they'll repurpose the cushion part of it from what I recall from their presentation.
Okay.
Did you have another one?
Yes, please. So, when paint gets brought to you, do you guys have a system of like making, new paint from old paint? I know Metro had a system, actually, I've heard they shut it down. But what do you guys do with paint that's, could be perfectly functional, but just, you got half a gallon of red can of paint, you don't know what to do with it, so you don't wanna throw it, in the river. So do you guys do something like that, where folks could go and get paint if they have like a simple project, they need black or a very simple color? Do you guys do something like that? Are you guys exploring that?
We work with the Paint Care program. So the program you're referring to in Metro, they still have their facility for processing the paint, and they're not doing it for the public, from my understanding, but I believe they are still recycling the paint. We do work with the Paint Care program. If people are looking for, just little jars, I would suggest the Gord Rebuild It Center in Hood River. I know they have a paint shed there that you can get paint from. But besides that, we personally don't. We do contract our hazardous waste collectors out. So we work with a company called Clean Earth, and they have their mobile truck. They come in, we do the collection events, and then they take the material out. And they'll do the e-waste cycles program, they do the paint care program, and then they usually process all other hazardous material. Does that answer your
Habitat
question?
Humanity is a good one for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, good. Okay, it's the last one, just for council and anybody who's watching, help. If you have metal pieces that are greater than 12 inches, you can recycle them at the Gord Rebuild Center. They have a big metal recycling bin, or the Hood River Transfer Station. Please recycle those things. Making metal from raw materials is extremely energy intensive. Using it from recycled materials, we save a lot of pollution. It makes our industry more competitive. Please use that. Don't throw metal away at all possible.
Hey, Courtney, didn't you? Courtney?
Do you know the most reliable way to find a list of what is acceptable recycling material?
We have a list on our website. So tricountyrecycle.com under what can I recycle? The list is there.
Okay, because on the Recycle On website, when I look up Cascade locks, it says that aluminum foil is allowed, so that's not accurate?
They took aluminum foil off. I don't know why it's on there. The list I have that they've produced, I'll check with them, but aluminum foil is not on the list for our county.
So you're saying that you guys definitely have a fully updated and comprehensive list on your website of what's allowed to be
Yes.
recycled?
We keep our website up to date for what is recyclable.
All right, Sharon.
I just wanted to add to what Mr. Seeger said, the metal recycling, I think at our dump days that we have twice a year,
Yes.
there's a collection.
Another
So
time.
you
Thank
you don't have to drive anywhere, you just take it right here, dump days.
Anybody else have any questions? comments?
No comment, I just, Gorge Recycle, I just saw recently that they are struggling, so I really hope that people do utilize them because, you know, it is I think they're important to keep around and be able to be a resource to use, so.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I swear by it. I've got so much stuff in there.
All right, Christina, do you have any questions or comments for us?
No, if you guys can just appoint a committee member to our steering committee, that would be great.
And you
So
want
you're-
that to be a council member?
It can be anyone that you appoint. It could be a citizen that
Citizen?
you council appoint.
Okay. All right.
I served on that committee for 10 years. One of us here before.
Mhm.
You volunteered?
How often do you guys meet? Monthly, you said?
Quarterly. Quarterly. Our very next meeting will be this Wednesday at 9 a.m.
Mayor, I'm happy to do that again.
Would you do that?
Sure.
Okay, so Bernard's gonna do that for you. Bernard Seeger.
Bernard
Thank you,
Cedar.
Bernard.
Perfect.
One
Yeah,
is a
Courtney.
trash guy anyways.
Just
Yeah.
Wasco recycling and
You still meet the Wasco County, Planning Department
Yes, that's where our
meeting?
we'll be in the conference room at the planning department.
remotely.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I don't
So
like
you'll
it.
have to check with her.
Okay.
And she said Zoom.
Yeah, she said Zoom's good. Courtney, did you have an additional question or comment?
Just one quick question, I just wanna verify that, plastic bottles with the lids on is acceptable now, is that accurate?
Yes, if they screw on, you can screw them on and leave them on. But if they're not screwed on, they're trash.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Have a wonderful evening.
You too. All right, moving on to committee reports.
We just have to have Sarah Patrick, Tourism Committee Chair, and Sally Drew here. Is there anything you want to say about the Tourism Committee?
I think there's. Are we gonna do all of those?
Oh, the actions?
Yeah, we're gonna get.
That's
why we can.
Okay.
So,
I knew you came.
so we can jump back up to action items. Is that what we want to do?
Yes.
Okay. Action item 7A is approved letter of support for additional bus stop in Cascade Locks.
So if you are comfortable with that, we can pen that letter and send it to Kat. Be right here on the corner by the, you've got the pictures, by the cemetery parking lot. And across the street would be just a sign because there's no room to put a shelter on that side. So if you're comfortable with that, we can get a letter of support to them tomorrow for a grant, but they're looking to get that.
I move to approve the letter of support for additional bus stops in Cascade Locks.
All right, I got a motion and I got a second, Sherelle.
Is the city responsible for the maintenance of that?
No, can't.
I did see a trash can in the image.
Courtney.
How many parking spots are they planning on taking?
I don't know that there is one on that corner.
They're on both of those stops, and it shows in the picture that they have turned our curbs yellow to imply no parking in those areas, and it looks like a total of 6, 3 on each side. So I wasn't sure what the,
I know they have to have room for the bus to pull in. So whatever the distance is in front of Thunder Island, it could be the same distance, so. If it's 50 feet, that's 2.5 cars.
I mean, this picture, the first picture
Yeah, I see that.
on the westbound lanes shows that entire block, and that's,
Yeah.
3 or 4 parking spots. I would like a number,
Okay,
because we have all addressed concerns about parking.
How many feet they plan on the yellow line being,
How many
right?
parking spots they plan on removing to allow for their bus.
That'll be ODOT's call, right?
yeah, it's the state highway.
Just saying, I think they have to have approval
From ODOT.
from ODOT to do whatever they're
Right, but
gonna
they're looking for a letter of recommendation and, or a vote of recommendation.
do. Yeah, just so they can apply for a grant to possibly do it.
So would we be involved in more steps after this? I mean, are they just saying that we're exploring this, or are they saying that?
They're going for a grant to do it. So, like, ODOT's involvement, they will have to get ODOT involvement on the approval. Is that too?
And Tiffany,
Well, so I'm assuming your question is it gonna come back to us before it happens, or this, once we make this, this recommendation, it's.
I think this is just a letter so they can apply for a grant.
But then do they have to come back to the city for approval?
Probably,
They did when they did the one by TIV.
yeah.
They had to, or
They did come to council about that one.
do they have to?
Well, we can always put that in the letter of support.
Yeah.
Pending.
But
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a typical process. They seek funding, if they're successful, then they do coordination with the entity in which the project's gonna take place, so. I would think they would do that as a normal course of business, but if we add it, we can secure and make sure that.
yeah,
And for the record, I fully support this, I love riding that bus, I ride it all the time. It's such a great deal, $40 all year long. Make use of it, guys, save some money, save wear and tear on your car.
I love that it's gonna be one down here closer to the residential at this end of
Love it.
town.
Yeah, great idea.
Did you have any questions, Sharon? No? Okay, Courtney, and then I'll get you Pete.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Okay, I'll get you Pete.
Again, I appreciate the different perspectives we have around this table, because I'm looking at the trash cans and thinking, who's dumping the trash cans? And you're looking at the park. So we all look at things a little bit different, and, my thought on the parking, it seems like people are more willing, they don't wanna park on this side of town, they wanna park unregulated before they're gonna park on this side of town. That's been, I think, the issue we've had with the residents, but I guess the issue is if there is no on-street parking, then they're gonna overflow into the neighborhood. But I am also concerned though about, I think the trash cans are great, but again, is that then become, it's like Overlook Park, now we gotta have to dump these trash cans.
We emptied the ones by TIV.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we empty them all up and down the street,
Yep.
including the one by Eastwind as well,
yes,
so.
exactly.
Actually, I take that back. The Eastwind one, they dumped themselves because that one's full of, cause I brought that up before, it was all full of Eastwind garbage and I
That's
asked about
true.
it. And they dumped that one, but the one from the walking path Marine Park, that's on us. So in any case, I think more trash cans are great. I like having trash cans, I love them in Hood River, but it's never more than a block away, you can go and throw away garbage, I think it helps to reduce the litter. But it is something that we should be aware of before we finish the resources to maintain.
All right, you take what you had, Courtney?
Yes, thank you. Obviously, our, everyone's ideas and thoughts on this will be considered if they get the grant, and if they choose to move forward on it. How much say do we actually have, or is this parking situation 100% ODOT? Like, where does that
It's all
lie?
state highway.
It's all.
So we don't even have okay,
We can influence.
right.
Tiffany,
And my only future concern would be, I like the one downtown, it's where everybody can see it, so you're not gonna have, as bold of people vandalizing and stuff, so I mean, that would, that's a future.
But it's also.
and that's
they-
their, they
they're
have to
responsible.
vandalize it, this cat's gotta fix that.
Yeah.
Courtney,
Might be a good idea to maybe bring it to ODOT, put in a crosswalk in that general area, so.
we don't wanna talk about.
Not that I'm trying to poke any bruises.
Thank you.
That's a different topic, different topic. Did anybody else have any more questions on the bus stop?
So-
All right.
But actually, if we put a bus stop in there, the amount of people crossing might increase enough to the point where they would put a crosswalk in.
They may,
So,
Yeah.
which comes first, the chicken or the egg?
that might require it.
Yeah.
So I guess, without getting into specifics, but I guess, what is the process for getting a crosswalk? Do they do a traffic study?
Yes, they do a traffic study and a traffic count, and even though they do it on the weekend, so they miss all the kids that are walking to the school. They do it off-season, so they miss all the tourists. They do it when they have time, and they don't have time during the during the tourist season when they do the crosswalks. When we repainted, Wanapa, they put in crosswalks all the way down the street. Remember that?
Yeah, we had to remove a bunch of them.
And then they came back and said, oh, we didn't have permission to do this one and this one and this one and this one, and they came back and they took half of them, and I was going, no, don't do that. But, so, there's a minimum, when they measured this one, again, this was 4 or 5 years ago, there were 9 crossings in a 24-hour period to cross the city line, which is not enough to generate a crosswalk.
How do they measure pedestrian crossings?
Sit there and watch.
Oh, so they actually have somebody out there physically. See. And, is this something that will be included in the TSP? I mean, will they do any good analysis?
Probably not that, down to the crosswalk level. I don't know.
All right, so anybody have any more questions or things for the bus stop?
I was just gonna make it funny, next time we can hire crosswalkers.
All right, so I have a motion on the floor. I have a motion on the floor by Pruitt and seconded by Sorrell to approve letter of support for the Columbia Area Transit request for letter of support for additional bus stop and Cascade locks. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. All right, so the Columbia Area Transit request for letter of support has passed unanimously. It was a motion by Pruitt and second by Sorrell. And moving on here, approve shared use for visitor center.
We have a proposal in front of you from, the tourism committee and the, Main Street Cascade Locks to share a facility that would be leased by, Ben Desjardins of, Lake, Oregon, a small building outside of Thunder Island. And we would partner with Main Street Cascade Locks, and we would partner the tourism committee. So it'd be $250 a month for 1 year to have a physical visitors center downtown. And we have tourism committee on Main Street here. If you have any questions for them, or if they have any comments, Your Honor?
I just have one question. Did the city attorney review this contract?
He did not.
He did not, okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Do we need to make a motion first?
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry.
So I'll make a motion to approve the shared use for visitor center.
And I'll get a second. Thank you, Sherrod. Thank you guys for letting me know that. Go ahead, Tiffany.
So I just wonder how this is gonna work exactly? How, can somebody explain?
It kind of goes into a lot of detail in the contract.
Yeah, well, I'm just wondering where we're gonna get people to.
I think they're
Our
volunteering.
volunteers are manning the booth, manning this, the visitor center.
So somebody's gonna be physically in charge of
Yes,
maintaining a
yes.
roster.
George is paying an employee to work his, and those part, they will also provide visitor information services while they're on duty.
And then you only have to provide somebody when they're not there, is that?
we can,
Or you can't do it at the same time?
yes, the
Also-
contract reads that there cannot be any more than 2 people in the building working at the time. So that would be 1 volunteer from tourism and 1 volunteer or his employee. We can be in there if he's not open. He will have a way to, make sure that his stuff that he's selling is taken care of. None of our volunteers will ever touch any money. We're not responsible for any transactions of Bike the Gorge. I'm sure we'll glean some of the information if somebody walks up and asks about it and their person isn't there, but other than that, there's no financial handling for our volunteers. Dave Litz is going to make sure that the restroom is handled, the inside is taken care of. We've got heat for the winter, that's included in our rent. There's a window AC for the summer, and it's put in on the backside by the tent. So it doesn't interfere with people coming up to the window and speaking and talking. And one of our goals is to be able to have the QR codes available for people to get their fishing licenses, their forest passes, and all the different things that they need, and then we'll have snow park passes and things in the winter. But that will all be QR codes that they can scan and handle on their own with their phones.
Yeah, and this is where we agreed to a 1-year contract with them, because our big goal is to come uptown. So this will be a temporary until we can get.
We kind of have, it's nothing on paper. But with getting this going, have a 5-year goal of having a stationary, a permanent walk-in visitor center.
Which is our goal.
Yeah.
But for now, we just would like to be uptown and easy access, and Ben has agreed for signage for us, and the sandwich board.
And we got a sandwich board, and then,
brochure.
we have a line item that will pay for everything, pay for what we're asking for. And as far as we know, we've got the budget to move forward, so. And we do know that the city attorney does have to look at the contract and make sure that everything's kosher.
Good, did you have another question?
Yeah, so I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. Okay, it says that, the gorge is gonna have their regular operating hours from 10 AM to 4 PM, Thursday through Saturday, mid-May through mid-September, so, that leaves open, let's see, Thursdays, okay, it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
The
Wednesday.
days that, especially during the winter, when our volume is down for visitors, we will have signage, we will have brochures, at the building. We will still be providing, even if there isn't an actual body in the space, we will have available, information, for all of our visitors that come to town.
Even if it's, I was trying to figure if it won't be manned, bring up all of our information so that the information will be available year round, even if we're not there.
And that is, kind of goes hand in hand with us working towards having our website, because our tourism website is a hot mess.
Yeah.
So with the visitor center in place, that kind of is gonna be one of those hand in hand, we're hoping projects that we can get that taken care of, and then people know that they can just go on their phone and go into the tourism, then they can get any information that they need if we're not actually physically there. But there will be the brochures, and that's,
And various things.
yeah,
One of the things that we've talked about is, we know, because we live here, that there are gonna be weekends and events where we are going to want to make sure ahead of time that they're fully staffed. And we will make sure that we do that between my membership and the.
and our committee.
We also want to give, community members the opportunity to volunteer, as a way of helping the city and supporting it, getting out, socializing, meeting people. They're some of our best ambassadors. We will, Main Street, actually in the process right now of writing a grant to the Mount Hood and Greater Columbia Gorge Investment Fund for, money to purchase equipment like computer, printer, monitor, keyboard, mouse, supplies like paper, rack card stands and holders, and brochure holders, both for inside and outside the building. I will pack that grant request with as many things as I possibly can, knowing that I won't get full funding, so we can get the very things that we need without that being a burden on any of the city organizations that will be sharing the responsibility for operating it.
Tiffany, another question?
Yes, I'm sorry, I have a whole bunch of questions. So you don't know how many hours you anticipate needing volunteers? Do you have any idea how many hours?
We haven't actually sat down and penciled that.
Okay, and who will be managing the volunteer? Who will be, because somebody has to be in charge, so who's gonna be managing the volunteer schedule?
We have not made that decision. We're just trying to get to the place that we know we have a place.
Yeah.
And that we know there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of then infrastructure, things that need to be handled once we know that we're ready to go forward.
Yeah.
And this gives us, I think, a chance, we have a year at a very relatively low cost to work out, to develop a really good working relationship, a really good understanding of what the needs are. Which will help the tourism committee, know more about what they need ultimately in the building that they're going to do.
Yeah.
And
How
the
they
way,
staff people,
yeah, and the way we discussed it before was Norm has a list of some volunteers that he knows that are willing to volunteer. And we had figured if we could do anywhere from 2 to 4 hour shifts, volunteers, we could cover the day with,
The hots, the
Yeah.
hot spots.
yeah, we could cover the day with.
All right. Courtney?
Did you mention a restroom? Did I hear that correctly?
Oh, there is one inside for employees,
For employees
for
and
us to
volunteers?
use there.
We will be able to direct them
To the bathroom, that's not, we're not gonna be important.
Just checking, and then, does Mike the board need to approve of the personnel with access to the key and door code?
He's gonna issue us 2 keys, and then he
Yeah.
said if we wanted to access, which we had discussed, while he is not or he's not there, we will have his information available, but we will not touch any of this merchandise or anything.
Right, so, I mean, but he's comfortable with giving tourism the keys and then comfortable with tourism handing out those keys, those 2 available keys to whoever they see fit.
Right, Bernard first, Bernard?
Yeah, so does the rent include utilities?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, I'm sure you're thinking about this, but again, always seeking value, right? Like, are we getting good value for this $6,000? And one way to measure that is to monitor headcount. So I know you guys
We've already
do
talked
something.
about it.
Excellent, okay,
Yeah,
so
we've
we're
already
planning on
talked
doing
about
that. So
Travel.
we'll know at the end of
Yeah.
27,
And that's
council's
important
approved
for us to know if this is something we may wanna do again next year,
this. Right.
or if we need to look at a different.
Yeah.
It
Different
also
plan.
helps us track and plan.
And write grants.
The following year, oh, this is the time where, look at the, like, you can see the shifts and the changes. It's better for us to help plan it. It also, for any grants, it's exactly the data that I need in order to be able to show up with their use of funds with.
Okay.
All right, Pete?
I think it's a great use of that space, it's such a, it's like that building was, it's been lacking purpose.
It was
But it's-
built for this.
It really,
I personally feel that
yeah,
in my soul, that building was put there to become our visitor center.
so
It truly has, whether the gorge, like the gorge sticks with it, I really just don't see the downside of it. And it's where the hub of this town is, I mean, we're right there, everybody walks by and looks at that place like, what is this, what,
so it's great to see it being used for,
and if the signage will be out there, it'll have all the information and, yeah, we're excited about moving this forward and working with Laurel and Main Street's just been
I also
a
think
pleasure.
I guess it meets the city's objectives, Main Street's objectives, the port's objectives, to bring more visitors right to designated downtown district. And to the businesses that are there, we're giving people even who are just here to get gas, they might see the visitor center, go, oh, wait, stop, and get out, and now they're right downtown. Which is really important for all, it's really important for Main Street, that's part of my mission, so, this is a really big step in that direction.
So I'm excited that you're excited. I think that that's really, I hear your passion, and that's really great to see, you know, our tourism community feeling like, what, you got a goal, and here you figured out a way to try to move towards that goal. So that's really energizing to hear, and it's great to see. The clarification, I think we heard 6,000, but we also heard 250. So it's 250 is to the city, correct? And then
Correct.
250 per month is paid by Main Street Cascade Locks.
Oh, and my executive committee, authorized,
And-
we're on board.
Yeah, and we talked about, we would just do a single payment, we wouldn't be making a monthly payment to them, to Ben.
And then my only other comment I was gonna make was if you have a large pool of volunteers and you're providing this access code for people to get in there, get a camera, just so that.
Oh, yeah, there's been
Is that on the list?
security talk, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, inside and out, yes.
Just to protect you and,
Oh, yeah.
that way there's no ever a question about where did this thing go and.
Ben would be carrying insurance that is required for him as the leaseor from Dave Lips. And then we're just subletting our space.
We've also talked about, doing training for anybody who volunteers there and, how to dress, how to deal with the public, providing aprons that have either Main Street logo or the city's logo on it that says,
Who we are, basically.
volunteers, name tag. Because those are interchangeable, really easy to clean. And, so we're not gonna let anybody who just comes up and says, hey, I want to work here.
We're not,
Show up.
yeah, we're a
We'll
little.
be doing a little screening.
Yes. Courtney?
So does, and I don't know if this is my business, does Bike the Gorge have a lease?
Yes.
Yes.
He's the
He's the leaseor.
Right, so how long, what
1
is
year.
their lease?
We're doing 1 year.
We're doing 1
Yes,
year.
he's
but
doing
what-
1
And
year.
he's actually doing 1 year also, just with Dave Lips.
Okay, so is
It's
he
from-
open and operating?
He will be.
He will be,
In the
yeah.
contract, it tells you the hours and
Tells
days.
us all in the
He
contract.
will only be there through the end of peak season, through the end of
Yeah.
October. At which point it will become incumbent upon our two organizations to provide staffing and to work out a schedule. We should know by the time that peak season's over, where we stand and what we want to do.
So what does that do with our subletting status once they're not in operation?
Then we would need to either renegotiate with Dave. We've actually kicked around. I mean, it is just the big dream in a perfect world that we would purchase the building from.
I guess I'm just trying to understand the 12 months, the 12-month lease, this 1-year lease that we're getting into, when does that start and stop?
May 1st
Yeah.
and April 31st, it's in
Next
our
year.
contract.
21st, April 30th, and so. And Bike the Gorge is going through September?
Yes, but he's
We are
leasing it for the year.
But the contract he has with Mr. Lips is through the full
Is
year.
May through May?
Yeah, so
Or May through,
and-
May 1st through April 30th.
And our sublet agreement with him is for the full year.
Okay,
So
perfect. I was trying to picture if there was an overlap,
Oh.
but I see it's all right now.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Bernard, did you have another question now? Anybody else, Jerome? No? I just wanna say, from my experience of having a business on Wanapa, I felt like I was the visitor center, so I feel like you guys are gonna get a lot of people in there, because you got all the people that are going to TIB that maybe didn't know that we even have a city park that's so lovely, which
Yes,
is, that's what
I
I
agree.
found out. That you'll be able to tell them about our town and do all that, because technically, when people come here, they think all our town is the street.
Yes.
Yeah, I found, they don't know that we have a beautiful park down there
I
and
was at
all of
my
that,
own house,
so.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Well, you go down to Marina. Marina, I
Yeah.
said, well, yeah, we've got a beautiful waterfront, and then they would just be, I said, well, it's only a couple blocks.
I
Yeah.
get all the time at the bridge, they said,
Yeah,
how do
And
you
you're
get down
right.
that beautiful park down here? When they're crossing the bridge, they see it,
but they have no idea.
how to get there.
Yeah, so I think you guys will do really good and you'll find that you'll be clicking along. I hope so. I hope that you're clicking.
We'd like to promote also, we'd like to do pamphlets for the campgrounds and the motels to make them lodging.
For lodging.
Yeah.
Look at this, you guys stay here, they got barbecue pits, they got a playground, they got a gift shop.
Right.
Last question I got,
Okay.
although I can't promise anything, because then you say something that makes me think something else. So you're talking data and, tracking, for the grants and how it's really important for you to have that visitation data. Do you have access to any of the data that Jam has collected with the visitor center previously?
No,
We don't have anything
No.
like that.
nothing.
We have to rebuild.
We're rebuilding.
Yeah.
We don't have access.
It would have been nice to be able to see, the comparison of, changing locations and how that affects visitation.
Make a report to council, but it was for the museum.
Yeah, I think that would be the issue, was separating the visitor from the museum, that was part of the muddled mess that we were trying to separate.
Well, even if it might still be a benchmark, even if it's not real clean, it might still be a useful data point. And that's right, we do have the report, and that's in public record, so.
And it's much easier in this location, even though we're sharing with Bike the Gorge. Because people come in to rent a bike or take a guided bike tour are very different than people coming in for just general visitors information.
And there will not be bicycles there. That's not his main business spot, that's just his information.
Yeah, he wants to, since he's so off the beaten path, his goal is to have a location to guide people to his location.
Which is better down there for him because they can try him out and everything, because it's down by the treatment center.
Yeah.
So you see
They
people
can-
test driving bikes and all that down there.
Yeah.
You can direct people there, down to there, if they do want to rent a bike. And he can likewise have bikes brought up. All right, have bikes brought up. And one of the things that he did mention was, he wants, his idea is Go Gorge, that's what he's calling. And he would have Go Gorge merchandise, when he's not there to sell it in person, people can buy it using a QR code.
All right, any more questions or discussion? All right. I got a motion on the floor by Pruitt, second by Sherrill, and it is to approve shared use for the visitor center. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. All right, so approved shared use for the visitor center passed unanimously. Motion by Pruitt and second by Sherrill. Thank you guys for coming.
They're like kids in the candy
Oh,
store.
we are.
Yes, thank you guys for all your hard work, because I know you've had to start from scratch and you've had to
Yes.
wait for us to get things together, and I appreciate it.
Well,
Sure.
Are there still vacancies on the tourism committee?
There are not.
No, we have not, we're full. We got budget, but you can't do that.
We're full and it's great.
Yeah.
It's just so awesome to walk into a meeting and not wonder, how long are we gonna be here tonight? Who's gonna show up? And everybody that's on the tourism committee right now is just, they're motivated. Yeah, they're just jazzed and we're gonna wanna keep that going. There's so much.
Yes.
I don't feel like we're overwhelming. I feel like that we're just,
They're
got
more
solid.
swarming of what we gonna do.
What are we gonna do? Let's go. We go, okay, we're gonna do this, okay,
Yeah.
So, it's just awesome. It's
We're
just
good.
awesome.
Thank you guys for all of your public service work. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Oh, yes.
All right, moving on, to committee reports. We have none, right?
We kinda did.
We kind of did. And you guys do have a little report from them. And then interim city administrator report.
Well, thank you. At your desks is the 2022-23 audit.
Mary Ann.
Yes.
Even though I really don't wanna read this document, but thank you.
So he's gonna give us a little,
We can talk about it now, or we can talk about it at the next meeting.
I think we should wait till the next meeting.
So if you have a chance to read it, it's, considering where we started, it's acceptable.
yeah. I will say that we had, like, I think, just real briefly, that we had several findings, and Mary Ann, I believe you saved us from 3 of them.
There were 4 findings, and we have to respond to 3 of them by the end of this week.
Yes.
And the 4th one by April 6th, before we send this off to the Secretary of State's office. And it's really correcting lapses. We used to do it, and now we're getting it back in staffing levels. We'll talk about it in next week, or next 2 weeks, but and you know, it's really a very positive report, actually, when you consider how long it's been since we've taken care of it. So, and like the next sentence is, we're halfway done with the 23-24, although we are shifting to budget before we complete the 23-24 budget, but and we'll talk about it again
On the 23rd.
on the 23rd.
Just wanna say, we did, initially, they were gonna get us for 7 things, and Mary Ann saved us from 3 of them, correct?
Yeah.
Which just left us with 4.
I found the affidavits and the LB ones that they were required. And then there was 2 of those they needed, and then the other one was because we bought a truck. We didn't get 3 bids, but because we bought a truck from a state contractor, they didn't have 3 bids. And thanks to Sheldon, we were able to get a copy of that, and I sent it to them and they took it off the list.
Thank you so much for all that hard work getting that done. All right,
Quick question, so you said that we're gonna tabling audits till we get through budget. I think, are we able to get them what they need, so can they keep going without us? Like, I guess I think the PBC list.
All right, right now, I've gotta get, the 25-26 budget into Cassell before we can start working on 26-27 budget. So that's my priority right now. Once I get that all done, then I'm gonna go back to 24 or 23-24. So it's a flexible thing. I mean, I've gotta look forward because we have to get a budget done before June.
yes.
So I've gotta get the spreadsheets all up to date so that Gordon can work with the staff and get a budget prepared.
Got it, thank you for the clarification, that doesn't mean we're not gonna
No,
be able to get back, we're not gonna be able to start out until July.
no, it's just, I have to do this so that he can move forward with the budget.
And did you have a quick question?
Into Cassell?
Into Cassell, so can you
Yeah,
clarify the
in
council
Cassell?
what that looks like?
Okay.
We have the budget that was adopted by the council. And we have to put it into Cassell, because Cassell is the one where we track all of our expenditures and income and everything else. It is not in there completely or correctly. So we will be coming to you probably with a supplemental budget that adjusts the current budget into legal standard. And I'll just give you one quick example. There was a transfer from the capital reserve, $241,000. That $185,000 went to the sewer and $56,000 went to the reserve fund out of which it was coming.
Holy smokes.
So, yeah, we're trying to, and the other thing is rounding errors. We have to adjust for the rounding errors, and we have to make the budget, the financials, and our LB1 form, which is the legal document that we file, all have to match. So we will be coming to you with adjustments
For a supplemental budget.
for a supplemental budget not appropriating any more funds, but correcting the budget so that it's legal and matches the LB1 form. And then, once we have that basis, then we can build the budget for next year. Now, in our next council meeting, we're gonna be talking about power rates. We're gonna be talking about food and beverage tax, again, discussion. We're gonna be talking about the budget, what you wanna see in the budget, so that I can get some direction when I go to staff and say, this is what we're trying to do. But that's for next council meeting's discussion with the audit.
Yes.
So whose responsibility was that? That didn't
We can't say that
do
in
that?
an open meeting. Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead with your administrator report.
Oh, more good news.
7 more points.
Sorry.
Sorry. The Federal Columbia River Power System court update, the preliminary injunction was given by Judge Simon in favor of the plaintiffs, but not as much as they wanted. So the Public Power Council, the Northwest Regulators Utilities Council, all of the parties were able to win a little bit. And the judge said, go back and work together to get this done. But the preliminary injunction did say that he had to increase the spills and lower the level of the water in the river. So marine traffic will be impacted, potential for who knows what's that gonna do to the kite surfers and all those windsurfers, those guys. We don't know. The BPA original estimate was that the preliminary injunction would have cost them $141 million. They've done that, it's going to cost them now $100 million, which they have translated into a 6% price increase in our December bills effective payment in January of 27. So that's what we need to talk about next week, or 2 weeks. Transient room tax, Oregon's House Bill 4134 increased the transient room tax from 1.5% to 2.75%. The 1.25% is being used for fish and wildlife and habitation management and to keep the hunters coming to Oregon. Just, there you go.
Yeah, as long as we don't go to race away for hunting.
Yeah. That long. There is a slide on Ruckle Creek on the Gorge Trail. You can't see it, but it's there. It's closed the trail between Eagle Creek and Cascade Locks. It's about 12 feet deep, about 75 feet long. They estimate it would take between $500,000 and $1 million in 2 weeks to remove. Here are the issues. It's ODOT which built the trail. It's not ODOT right of way, so they don't have any money to clear it. It's forest in the Forest Service, but it's not a designated national forest trail, so they don't have any money to clear it. It's in Hood River County, but it's not on Hood River County's right of way, so they don't have any money to clear it. So we're looking as far and as wide as we can to find the money to remove the debris field. I've not been successful at this point. We've contacted Travel Oregon, this is tourism's gonna go down. Do you have any tourism dollars where you can remove stuff like that? No, they don't. But I did get the Forest Service and the Gorge Commission, or the Gorge, ODOT Gorge, what's Terra. I got them in touch with Jeff Helfrich and with Nate Stice. So we are going to the governor's office and to the legislature to try and find that money to get it as soon as we can, so that we can get the trail moving, because people are gonna go around the signs and crawl over that debris, or they're gonna have to walk on the freeway to go around the debris. And neither one of those is acceptable, so we're trying to find that funding. Bernard?
Yeah, so I run on that trail a lot, and it slid many times before. Massive boulders have been on it, and somebody cleared it. I mean, this is the first time this trail has slid. Who's been clearing the path?
It depends on where it is. There is 4 or 5 different entities that have ownership of the trail, but no one entity manages the trail. So it really depends on where it's at and what caused the fall. My point to the Forest Service was, this was a direct result of the Eagle Creek fire. I mean, it's the trees that damaged the root ball. It's the vegetation is gone, so the water soaks in and then the ground from. Yes, that is correct, but there's two funds that do fire remediation. One expires after a year after the fire, the other one expires 2 years after the fire. They don't look down the road 10 years, 15 years when the root balls start to die and everything else. So we're looking at emergency management, Oregon Emergency Management is looking at it. We're looking everywhere we can to find that money.
I have a question real quick. When the fire happened and everything, we had the bear team came out, which is the people that are experts on this dirt and soil.
Right.
And they said that it's not if it's gonna slide, it's when it's gonna slide.
That is correct.
So why would they put a deadline of like 1 year? Because the roots have to, yeah, okay, I got it.
I can't answer that question.
All right, Tiffany, did you have your hand up?
Well, yeah, I mean, cause it could be an emergency sort of thing. I mean, if we had to hike out because something was happening with the highway and stuff, that would, I mean, I don't know. I don't think.
We're trying every we can.
Did someone else have a comment or something?
Want to sponsor a bake sale and invite people to come with their shovels?
Shovels.
All right.
Thank you. Number 5, our current city engineer is Karen McLeod. When we built did the Overlook Park upgrade where we did the parking lot and put in the bathrooms, we did a request for engineers, and Karen McLeod, who was the only one that submitted a bid, and so we selected them as at that time to do that project, and we've used them as our city engineers ever since. The problem is it's probably not legal. Kurt McLeod, Pat Curran retired a couple of years ago. Kurt McLeod is retiring this year. They have sold the business to McKay Esposito in Eugene and Vancouver. And the Kurt McLeod will be a subsidiary of that engineering firm. So in discussions with the city attorney, we've determined that we need to do a request for proposals for a city engineer and see so that we select them according to the current contract law. So with your permission, the city attorney and I will get that process going, and we'll begin the search for a new city engineer, and Kurt McLeod will be welcome to submit an application. So that's where that's at. Housing planning grant, the city received 4 proposals from planning consultants. Kathy and I reviewed those, and we selected Jamie Crawford of Bell Design and Bingen. She's the one who was instrumental for us receiving this grant. The proposed scope of work, the timeline, and the budget are under review by the Oregon HAPL office, Housing Accountability and Production Office. So that's going that. We received a pre-enforcement notice from DEQ a couple of days ago. There were some issues in our wastewater treatment plant that were made violations of our permit. The first 2 violations were to monitor, report discharge, were at the end of Jacobson Engineering before July, before they left the plant. The last 3 is discharge monitoring reports, which is a clerical error in reporting them. Mr. Chris McCaleb, who is president of Treatment Equipment Company, is working to renew those 3 so that we can be current and correct with our reporting. There's misunderstanding between our software and their software. But there is a possibility that we may be fined for the 2 non-reports that were happened under Jacobson Engineering. We don't know yet.
We can't charge them for it?
We could try. But I don't know what, if it's $100, it would cost us more to have an attorney to do it.
Yeah.
So, I think the DEQ will be very understanding about the transition. We also received a sanction from the Oregon Ethics Commission. Last year, the city hired a lobbyist to help secure the $1 million funding for the McCourt Creek Bridge. Replacement, not removal, removal and rebuild, replacement. At the end of every quarter, when you hire a lobbyist, you are required to file a report that indicates this is the lobbyist, this is what we paid. Even if you still have the lobbyist in a relationship with them and you didn't pay him, you still have to report it. We do not have that relationship with that lobbyist anymore, but we did not report it by January 15th. Kathy was made aware of that error and deficiency, and she found all the information that was needed. She filed all the information. It went to the Oregon Ethics Committee. They decided to issue us what's called a letter of education. This is how you do it right, do it this way. And they waived the $110 fee. Thank you, Kathy.
Yes, thank you, Kathy.
And Berry Street, finally, the ground was leveled during the week of February 23rd. They put the curbing in February 27th. They're waiting to pave. It is weather dependent to put asphalt down. So that's a big improvement on Berry Street up behind Grover Street.
I had a question back on the power system thing. So will this help us? Well, we have no idea, because we just didn't we just get like a $26,000 or 20-something thousand bill because we didn't pay enough or they didn't make enough electricity and we just had to make up the difference for BPA? Will this alleviate that future doing a rate hike now or not?
I'm not sure why they gave you an additional bill, 26,000.
It was something about that Bonneville couldn't make enough power, so they had to make up the difference that they didn't. So they sent all the cities different bills, so ours was like 26, some of them are like millions and millions of dollars.
So if they're not generating the power on the Columbia River system and they need power, they have to buy it on the market. And they will charge you your proportionate share of the increased cost over what was contracted. Now, to look ahead a little bit, our watermark 3 years ago was 2.56 cubic feet per second. Now it's 2.68 or 69. The contract that you signed last quarter is raising to 5. The high water mark will be 5 cubic feet per second, which whatever 5 high water mark is, I don't know whether cubic feet or whatever. Kilowatts. That will basically, since we're currently about an average of 5 megawatts, that's going to lower our costs substantially, but that's not until 2027. 2028 contract, 2029. So one of the things I'm going to ask next week for 2 weeks is we probably need to have another rate study done to balance what our residents pay and what our industries pay. But I want to explain all that with some charts and stuff, so you understand the magnitude or the minor difference that the residents pay versus what the industry pays. So we're going to talk about that in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Bernard, did you have a question?
Yeah, so on the housing planning grant, so we got the proposal, you guys looked them over. I mean, is that something that would come to council and we would?
We asked for approval last time to pick that person since we worked with the people that applied. What the council will be involved in is in meetings with at the milestones that the HAPO requires and public input and to be involved in discussions on what needs to be done. And it's about a year project, and we'll be working with Jamie over that year, and you'll have all of that input that you need. But the selection of the committee, we had 4 applications, and from our current planner, from our previous planner, and from somebody out of Spokane, Washington that just happy to hear about it. It's like, we're the good thing, so we threw them out because they weren't local. So.
And in the report, he asked, regarding the city engineer, if he can create initiate an RFP, and for the words word I support.
Yeah, the direction is
I'm
yes.
one, I assume.
Yes, he could do that, right?
We're doing one.
Yeah. We're not doing the other word.
So, thank you, I appreciate being here and working with you all. It's an amazing council, I have to say. In my 30 years of experience, I've never seen anybody who is as inquisitive as you are and who is as, brings so many different talents to the table that augment what you do. Synergy is alive and well in Cascade Lake.
Thank you, Gordon. All right, now we're moving on to mayor and city council comments. Bernard, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I just want to start by saying thanks to the tourism for,
Yes.
well, all that work, but also, I understand you guys acquired the picnic tables that were installed in Overlook Park, which are amazing. I can't believe we didn't think about that 10 years ago. I'm not sure how long the Overlook Park has been there, but what an improvement. I walked that route quite a bit, picking up litter and just picking up mail. And I already had tourists from New Hampshire and New York, had a beautiful day out there enjoying their lunch. And I'm like, those just got installed. They said, this is fabulous. The fact that we have now a place to recreate with that spectacular view, just well done all around. And then the last thing, look, I know we have a budget that's nipping at our heels. But as council knows, last year we did a retreat to determine our goals and be deliberate about what we wanted staff to focus on in the next 12 months. We haven't been able to do that. We have a lot of turnover and fluctuation. I mean, for the worst, I'd be willing to maybe do a half day or just set aside some time to sit down with council and just review the goals we did last year. Do we agree with those are the same priorities? Maybe we need to add something. I'm open to that. I don't know how council feels about that, but I feel better going to a budget cycle when we've gotten together and said, we want to work on this the next 12, so we can give clear direction to the staff. So my 2 cents.
Okay. Courtney.
Thank you. Super excited to see the future of the tourism committee. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all are putting in so much work and it makes these city council meetings go so smooth. I really appreciate it.
Courtney, 2 things. I too am gonna say thank you to tourism. I lose it written down, it's not my problem. I just wanna say thank you for stepping up to the challenge, because we've all faced a set of challenges here. And I wanna say especially thank you to Sarah because she has stuck through the tourism committee thick and thin, when it was lean and when it was a little bit more fatty. I just appreciate that she has had the tenacity to stick through it all those years, through all the changes, and even, I'm sure, very frustrated sitting there watching decisions being made that she didn't appreciate, but she still stuck around to just be part of it no matter what, and I just really appreciate that. I also appreciate the picnic tables. I appreciate also that they are round and that they are not possible beds for people to sleep on. Yeah, and I look forward to the one that we're gonna have some put in Justice Court one, the Justice Court Plaza. I also want to, and I'd like to see flowers. I mean, we haven't had really good flowers in that flower bed. That's
in the plan.
Okay,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's all being done.
Yeah, because I'd like to see, I've already pitched the idea to Laurel that we have a contest of flower bed contest or something, just to see things get done, because I don't think I've ever seen the flower beds done around the store, around the Cascade Inn, it's just always been the same thing, and I'd love to see it spruced up, especially for the celebration that's happening later on in the year. It would just be really nice, so maybe kind of having some sort of contest to get people motivated to do it themselves, instead of being poked and prodded. Thank you, this newsletter is, this is much nicer than what we previously had. That's just nice, it has everything that needs to be in there so that people can know about. I'm wondering, are we gonna be having a discussion about the issues that are being found sometime in the future because I don't think everybody knows what's going on and what you guys are really battling that we don't know about. Is that something we can have a discussion on later?
It's
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay. So how do we know what the issues, how do we know what the issues are to look for in the future so that we don't have this happen again?
That's a great
Is
question.
your door open for them to just come
Yes,
talk to you?
you can come talk to me, come talk to Mary Ann.
That's probably the best way.
We may not be able to be as specific as you would like, but we can at least outline the issues that we find for you. But I think what your question leads to is, what do we look for in the next guy?
Exactly.
And you have an opportunity, man. Do you wanna talk about that at the moment?
Yeah, we have a sign up list, so we did the kickoff, which we met with Rob from Kaufman. And on the 18th, he will be coming, and you guys can sign up for what time you would like to meet with him. If you're not available for any of these times, then he's willing to talk to you on the phone or Zoom you or whatever, but he does want to talk to each of you guys to see what you guys want in your next city administrator. That way they can build the profile and get everything going. So, go ahead.
Quick question, sorry. And then I think I understood from your email, Kathy, that if we have to work on that day, that he would make himself available for evenings and weekends.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
Anybody that doesn't sign up, I imagine he'll reach out to us individually.
He will.
He will.
Yeah, so I'm not signing up, not because I don't.
So if you get somebody from
because
call
I
from Rob Van Cleve and Rothman, it's about the recruitment process.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you can't do any of them times, then Kathy will give him your contact information and he will contact you guys directly, let you know, so you can come up with a time and a date to do it on Zoom or whatever.
And I copied him on the email, so he's got all the email.
Okay. All right, you got more?
So, yeah, because what we heard tonight was very concerning. I mean, we've been working on a budget that's not been put into the system, and that's huge. I've never heard of that before here, and I've been on budget for a very, very long time, so everybody knows. The one last question, are the swoop flags, are those legal for our,
Which flag?
the tall flapper, the flags that everybody's putting up now along the casket, are those?
I don't know if planning rules have changed since I left.
We better
No.
Okay, so, cause one popped up, and then another popped up, and then another popped up, so they're kind of like rabbits right now, they're kind of popping up all over the place.
Well, there's.
Well, the thing is, let me just say, if you do any signage, you need to do all signage.
Yeah.
So in the downtown plan, it says you get X amount of square feet, you get 2 signs based on the size of your building. Then my opinion would be, we need to do all signs for all businesses.
I agree.
And ODOT is probably going to be more concerned that they are distractions to drivers, and they will enforce that. But ODOT, as you know, is underfunded and understaffed.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, is that good for you?
I think that, I think so. Okay.
All right, Tom.
Well, they're back and back for reserves and moving things ahead, that's always good. Right now, I'm not saying too much on not saying too much on as a committee member, because, I'm new to this. I've been on council before, got a lot of years in council, but everybody in here, most folks in here been running this council for a while, and obviously it's as Gordon said, it's a council that's sharp, they're on top of things, and yeah, so nothing needs to be said on those things, but I'm happy to be on this council, because I do believe the council's taking care of business for yes, and I appreciate, I think we're very fortunate, especially Mary Ann back there and Gordon in there to be able to assist Kathy, who's been stuck in this thing without a whole lot of help, so I'm sure she appreciates that. Cause she, all the years that I put in, the entire time she was there, her biggest concern was what was going on in Cascade Lock, so she has always been a person who's been 100% behind Cascade Lock's doing well, looking well out there in the world, so I'm sure she's a happy camper too, with council and staff is going for them, so yeah, I think we're in great shape there. And I like the idea that, you know, it seems like quite a bit of money, but I don't think, in my opinion, it's not much money at all for, the trimming of the trees. They got the bill there for trimming the trees for the power line stuff, and clearing that out. I mean, that's hugely important to be able to keep those limbs out, bad trees out, and this is the biggest, push that I've seen in a lot of years on keeping that right away clean. It doesn't guarantee the limbs and trees still can't get you, but a heck of a lot of the trees and a heck of a lot of the limbs that were potential problem limbs and trees have been taken out away with that money, so
If I can say.
I'm glad to see that.
Well, I asked for a running total because, this summer, we had all the trimming going along on 84 and, the then city administrator said he was surprised at how much it cost, so I just kind of wanted to keep an eye on how much this was costing, just so that we, know. Running totals is my thing, man, I just want to see how much it's costing us, because it gets all muddled in your bills and you can't, it's hard to keep it together in one place.
Well, I think it's money well spent. That right there is.
It was years in black.
Yes, it's money well spent, so I appreciate the direction that we're headed. Because to me, we got a power company, we got, you know, sewer, water, and you gotta take care of those things. You don't put the money in to take care of them, then those are the main things you gotta take care of for your citizens. So I appreciate that,
Thank you, Tom.
I'm good.
Thank you. Sherette.
I just wanna say thank you to the tourism committee too. Being a volunteer is hard, we all have busy lives and a lot of things to do, and it's, I appreciate you guys' effort and time put into your passion for our town, it's awesome. And then I wanna say thank you to Kathy too for, her responsiveness when adding, I emailed to ask her to add some things to the community calendar. I think it's a great resource for folks to have easy access, so stuff in the newsletter, she was able to put that on there really quick, and thank you for your response.
Thanks, Sherette.
Well, everybody's thanking tourism, I'm not gonna do it. No, I love the passion, and really, you gave me goosebumps as you guys, I could just hear your energy and passion tonight as y'all were talking about the North Tourism, visitor center there, on Main Street. And I love to see the way tourism, Main Street are working together, and, you know, sharing the resources and expertise, and it's wonderful to hear that you guys come to a meeting and everybody's there and participating. So that's a huge accomplishment to see that committee running well, and it's so vital to our community, and so we really appreciate it. Thank you. Really grateful for Sheriff's Department to be here this evening as well and reporting. I think we had lots of good questions for them, and I'm really excited to hear how they can address some of our concerns and questions. But I like the idea of adding that narrative at the bottom of the report to give us a little more context to what those numbers really mean. I noticed, I think, was it last week on Friday when I called you? 2 weeks ago on Friday? I thought it was a work day, and I called Gordon and thought, I was like, hey, are you in your office? Can you look out the window? He wasn't in his office. He might have been the only work 410s, but he still answered the phone, and, I was reached out to him because, Peninsula Truck Lines had trucks, trailers parked on either side of Wanapa. And they had trailers they dropped on the north side of the road, and then their tractor flipped a U-turn in the middle of the road, to then pick up other, and we meanwhile had traffic coming off 84, 55 miles an hour down to 30. And as we know how fast people go through there, it was concerning to me, and I don't wanna see our town's main street being used as a truck stop.
Yeah.
So I kinda like where the bus stop was, because it's right where they're staging those trailers, and maybe it would help to keep that from happening.
No, it's bus stop.
It's too far down, all right,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
never mind.
But again, it's ODOT.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's kind of but really, yeah, it's a small issue, but it is something that I wish that there was a way that we could somehow, create less hospitality towards commercial truck operators using our, main street as a, logistics center. So I don't like that very much, but there's a whole lot we can do about it. But thanks for answering the phone, just the same.
Yeah, you actually worked on Friday though.
I work,
He works when he needs to work.
I work when you need.
Right?
And just, I can't say how happy I am about the audit status, and thank you, Mary Ann. Not only did we have 22-23 done, but we're already 50%. And then I love the fact that you're setting reasonable expectations for us, that, hey, we need to move on to the budget, because you're looking ahead and you're thinking ahead and you're making sure that we're gonna be prepared. But at the same time, I know you're committed, to getting the 23-24 done as well. And I don't think 24-25 will be that far behind it. So, it gives me, I think about a lot of what we did talk about during the strategic planning meeting. And I think that one of the number one goals for all of us was to get our audits caught up. I don't remember a lot of the other goals we set, but I think that was there you go. So, we're making movement on that, so that's really great. And then, so.
Yeah,
Code enforcement,
public safety.
Yeah.
Downtown vacant building lots.
So even with staff turnover and changing on council, I feel bureaucracy is designed to support that kind of turnover. And so even though we've had turnover on staff, even though we had turnover on council, we're still executing on the council's goals.
Yes.
So that's, I think, really, something we should all celebrate. That's all I've got.
Thanks, Pete. All right, I was just gonna say what at our council retreat, what our 5 ones were, our goals, top 5 were audits, public safety, code enforcement, downtown vacant building and lots, and city hall. And we've been chipping away at all of them, but I feel like we're gonna make bigger chips now. I wanted to share about the kickoff meeting that we had for the recruitment for the new city administrator. And if you guys would come up with what your expectations are. Cause we all get a voice in it, and that way we hopefully get something close to what we want. And then we have 4 openings on the budget, and we really need to get them filled. So if you know anybody in the community, please get them to fill out an application online to get on budget committee, because we will need them filled to be able to do budget. And we have 1 vacancy on planning. And me and Gordon and Genevieve and Jeremiah met on the 4th of the month and went over the port's goals and things, and had a good meeting. And then tourism. I know you guys have been through it. And you've had to be patient during the change and not have a meeting when you were supposed to have a meeting, because we couldn't have a meeting. And deal with Mary Ann and and me, because we're trying to put this all together so you guys could even have a meeting. Because you didn't even have a computer to have a meeting, you have nothing. And I'm so grateful that you guys were patient and worked with us so we could bring you guys up to par. And hopefully, if you ever have any concerns or questions or anything, just know that this council is listening and that we appreciate you guys volunteering and being on this committee for us. And I think the best thing is $250 a month versus $6,500 quarterly for a visitor center. Sign me up. And it's in downtown. Yeah.
We're very thankful for you guys.
Yeah, and thank you, Sarah, because I know you stuck it through thick and thin and all of that, and thank you for being chair.
Thank you. Yeah. Moving on, that's the path.
Yeah, we're going forward.
All forward.
So thank you guys so much, and then thank you to this council, because I feel like a burden has been taken off of me since Gordon and Marianne have stepped in, like I can step back and I can breathe, which means it came at a good time because I need to recover. I'm still recovering. And I'm very appreciative of you guys because I feel like we have an open dialogue and all of that, and we're doing our best and volunteering, and being public servants to our community. And I appreciate that. And then I always want to ask Kathy, and I will until we get a new city administrator, would you like to share anything, any comments?
The comments I have is everything is going great, things are getting done, it's been great, it's gonna be good, it's just gonna be good, it's just gonna get better.
Yep.
So we're moving forward and that's what counts.
Yes. Tiffany, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanna make the comment on the five, the 5
Things.
goals, that one of those was not really one of our goals.
No.
One of those was pressed upon us, and that would be the city hall, that would be the
Yes.
city hall, so that was really not one of our goals, we just kind of capitulated to make somebody happy. And then I wanted to ask, do we have an update on that water leak that was found, do we?
I think they found it and do we know?
Let's see, the one that goes under the freeway?
Yes.
Yes, it's about, in the middle of the freeway. It's, from the top of Tahoma to the other side of the Dry Creek. We have to replace about 1,000 feet of pipe, estimated cost $300,000. But we initiated a study first. What would happen to our water system if we didn't repair that? And what would happen to our water system if we did another repair? For example, we could put a lift station down at Runkle Street to put the water back up to Dry Creek. Estimated cost, about $300,000. So, we're gonna have to look at the 300,000 under the freeway would be a 100-year repair. The 300,000 under Ruckle Street is maintenance of your pump station, and you're paying your electricity and you're constantly doing that kind of thing. But the study we're doing is what's the impact of those two opportunities and what would be the best for the system in the long run.
And then we still have our pumps down at the
Pumps are
treatment
still
plant.
down, yes.
Yeah. So we're still down.
The initial report is the 2 new ones, they will repair, but they will not warranty.
Yeah.
And the old ones, we're probably gonna have to replace, but we're still.
So on that water leak, do we know how much of the 50% water leak cause when Tony came before us, he told us that we were losing 50% of what we were putting out. Do we know if that
We have not.
was the 50%?
We haven't measured that, but it's reduced dramatically. Before we built the water tank up the other end of town, we were losing 30%. It's pretty normal to lose that kind of water, but we have the water supply available. We're not in danger of running out of water.
Couple follow-up questions.
You wanna do these after the meeting?
Well, I guess when Mark and I were talking about that water leak, he said they had it isolated, and so and that's what we're trying to figure out is what purpose does that pipe serve if we can run the water system?
It's always good to have a circulation pipe, so the water is always flowing all the way around, and this one is the second, the return leg of going up the new water system up Dry Creek.
Thank you for that explanation, that totally makes sense, I understand why you need it. And then Mark was saying something about the pump runtime, that they were able to, is that
It's dramatically reduced, but I don't.
You don't have the numbers on that? I'd be curious to see.
Yeah, they just cameraed that last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's real new that we know for sure how big of a, how far it is and all that.
No, but I think that it was about over a month ago
Oh,
that
yeah.
they
Yeah.
isolated it, and shut
Yes,
the leak out.
yeah, they did.
So I didn't know if they were able to say, well, do they track, is that a data point that they record?
Not generally, but they can go take a look at it. They've been busy fixing other leaks. So.
We don't have any leaks, so. Just saying.
So, you have to understand that a lot of the water pipes in this town were put in place when Tom was a baby.
Yeah.
And it was used pipe from battleships, Navy ships, that was used to put the water in. And we are slowly replacing them. Like for the 3 streets that we're gonna do for the small, ODOT small city grant, we're gonna go in and redo the piping underneath it first. So,
Yeah.
we try to do it as we can and to keep the system running.
Thank you.
All right, I'll take a motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, guys.
Just right on the bottom that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I just emailed them too as well.